You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play.
The options market can be a confusing place. Sorting through the daily avalanche of data, alerts, updates, articles, and analysis to find the most important information is an overwhelming prospect. But now you have help. Welcome to the Options News Rundown, the only program that breaks through the noise to bring you the most important news and information from the world of options. Every day we bring you the top 5 option stories curated by the options experts at theoptionsinsider.com, the premier source for free options information. The Options News Rundown is brought to you by Market Taker Mentoring, the leader in option trader education. Get trader education, daily trade ideas, and more with a free 1-week trial of Market Taker Mentoring's live Advantage group coaching class by visiting markettaker.com/insider. And now it's time to break through the noise. It's time for your Options News Rundown.
Good morning. Today is May 9th, 2018. This is your Options News Rundown. I'm Dan Passarelli. Our first story today is the top 5 things to know in the market on Wednesday. First thing is oil prices shoot higher. Oil prices rose around 3% to hit fresh 3.5-year highs after U.S. President Donald Trump walked away from an international nuclear deal with Iran, raising the risk of conflict in the Middle East and casting uncertainty over global oil supplies. Brent crude futures at one point touched their highest since November 2014 at $77.20 a barrel. It was last at $76.95, up $2.11 or 2.8%. Second thing to know is weekly EIA supply figures added. Besides Iran, oil market players looked ahead to a fresh week of data on U.S. commercial crude inventories to gauge the strength of demand in the world's largest oil consumer and how fast output levels will continue to rise. The U.S. Energy Information Administration will release its official weekly oil supplies report for the week ended May 4th at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, amid forecasts for an oil stock drop of 719,000 barrels. Analysts also forecast a fall of 450,000 barrels for gasoline stockpiles, while distillate inventories are expected to drop by 1.3 million barrels. Third thing to know is U.S. stock futures point to an upbeat open. U.S. stock futures pointed to an upbeat open this morning as investors continued to assess the implications of President Donald Trump walking away from the Iran nuclear deal. Fourth thing to know, the dollar rally rolls on as as yields climb back above 3%. The dollar continued to rally against a basket of currencies, reaching yet another 2018 high bolstered by rising U.S. bond yields. The U.S. dollar index rose to a session peak of 93.26 at one point, the most since December 19. It was last at 93.01, up 0.1%. And the fifth thing to know is inflation data. Weekly supply oil figures are in focus. Wednesday's calendar features top-tier U.S. data on inflation. The Commerce Department will publish producer price inflation figures for April at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Market analysts expect producer prices to inch up 0.2%. Weakening from March's 0.3% increase, while core PPI is forecast to rise 0.2%. That's down from 0.3% a month earlier, and we should get a look at those numbers in our next stories here. Our second story today is one from CNBC.com. Walmart agrees to a $16 billion deal to buy a majority stake in India's Flipkart. Walmart has agreed to a deal to buy a majority stake in Indian e-commerce giant Flipkart for $16 billion. The U.S. retail giant said Wednesday It would acquire an initial stake of roughly 77% in Flipkart. The remainder of the business will be held by existing investors, including Flipkart's co-founder, Vinny Bansal, Tencent, Tiger Global, and Microsoft. Walmart said in a statement that its long-term aim would be to support Flipkart's transition into a publicly listed subsidiary. The retailer said it expects India's e-commerce market to grow at 4 times the rate of the overall retail industry. Our third story today is from CNBC.com. Ford is scrambling to limit the impact of stopping F-Series production. Just as auto sales start to heat up, Ford is facing the daunting prospect of seeing a major drop in the supply of its best-selling and most profitable vehicle, the F-150 pickup. Final assembly of the F-150 is crippled by the lack of critical components after a fire knocked out production at a supplier's plant in Michigan. Tuesday afternoon, the United Automobile Workers Union alerted members who build the F-150 at the Dearborn truck plant that production could be stopped later this week. The company doesn't know when or for how long we will be down, wrote Berkey Morris of the UAW in a letter to members. If production is halted, Ford will likely temporarily lay off thousands of workers until it can get assembly lines up and running again. The automaker already has halted production of the F-Series at its plant in Kansas City. Our final story today is from CNBC.com as well. U.S. Producer Price Index rose 0.1% in April versus 0.3% increase expected. U.S. wholesale prices edged up just 0.1% in April, held down by a big drop in food costs. It was the smallest gain in 4 months. The Labor Department says the April increase in its Producer Price Index, which measures inflation pressures before they reach consumers, followed a 0.3% rise in March. It was the smallest gain since wholesale prices were unchanged in December. Core prices, which exclude volatile energy and food, rose 0.2% in April. Over the past 12 months, wholesale prices are up 2.3%, while the core wholesale prices have risen 2.3%. The Federal Reserve seeks to manage the economy to keep inflation rising at a moderate annual rate of 2%, a level it is finally starting to achieve. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is news you can use for today, May 9th, 2018, your Options News Rundown. I'm Dan Passarelli. Trade smart and have a great day.
Thank you for listening to the Options News Rundown. To learn more about these stories or any other developments from the world of options, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com, the premier source for free options information. The Options News Rundown is brought to you by Market Taker Mentoring, the leader in option trader education. Get trader education, daily trade ideas, and more with a free 1-week trial of Market Taker Mentoring's live Advantage group coaching class by visiting markettaker.com/insider.
The preceding program was a production of the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions@theoptionsinsider.com.